Alright, this is the sort of thing I'm talking about. There's absolutely no excuse for this, but people don't want to see it because they're stupid and evil. Someone linked on 4chan their banned message because they hadn't posted on Science Board in over a year, and they decided to lurk back on there and post. So clearly this guy isn't a troll if he's been away for a fucking year and has just decided to come back and browse. And he sees a topic about what is a troll thread, talking about how, religious people, let me quote it, make a post stating that in America OP is saying that everyone that is not an atheist and believes in creationism should die. So, yeah, right there, that's a troll post. Everyone that believes in creationism should die. And, mind you, I don't believe in creationism, at least not in the sense that, Christians do, or in the sense that they try to pass off as a scientific hypothesis, but it's just an underlining Christian theme. The point is, I don't believe that the universe is intelligent design. I do not believe that somehow some supreme being, some alien supreme being, put this all together just cause. Even though people do all kinds of shit just cause, I would hope that a super intelligent being would have actual purpose behind what he does. And if he has actual purpose behind what he does, well then surely his creations would understand that purpose too. So no, I don't believe in creationism, and anyone that does believe in creationism, I believe is just a Christian, trying to hide behind this facade of secular science. Anyway, the point is that it had nothing to do with science. It was just, creationists should die. Okay, why couldn't you just point that out in a topic, like, make a post about it, a quip about it, in between an actual point about science? That's what I would do, and I get called a troll for that. I get called a troll for staying on the discussion, but inserting my own opinion in with it. And obviously this guy got called a troll for essentially saying that actually there are more atheists in the West, especially in America, now than ever before, and guess what? People are stupider than ever before. 50 years ago, many more people were more thought-provoking. They were more deep in their thoughts, and they wanted to pursue academics. And it's true, people were more hard-working back then. They had more desire to learn and to grow and to develop. That's how we got the Industrial Revolution. That's how we got the Age of Enlightenment, was through Christianity. And, atheists want to conveniently forget that part, that Christianity played a huge role in the technological development of mankind. Now, whether or not that was Christianity itself, or rather the principles of which it entailed, and then it created a society that allowed them to pursue all these great things, that's up for debate. But the idea here is that, yes, there is some underlying truth that religious people bother to learn. Religious people have, because they're disciplined, because they're, they have some semblance of dignity, and they don't pursue stupid shit like getting drunk and out partying and having lots of sex, that they study hard and they, work for their families and they, do what they think is right. And that's really all it comes down to. It's easy to say that we do not need religion to have principles, but let's face it, if people were reliable in having principles, they would. They wouldn't need religion to back them up, yes, but a lot of people aren't that reliable. A lot of people aren't dependable at all. So, while religion may not be the answer, it's not surprising that people have used religion as the answer. It's not surprising people have clinged to religion because it works. It keeps people in line in enough way to pursue something better than they would otherwise. So what I'm saying here is that while I don't agree with the guy that somehow religion is what made people smart, I am agreeing that yes, people generally were smarter back then. They cared more about what was going on back then. They were more educated in what was going on in their environment. They were more educated what was going on in their own lives and in other people's lives. They cared more. And whether or not, like I said, that's religion in and of itself, or rather the principles that come with the religion, is not the point. The point is, you cannot deny these statistical facts. And, he gets banned for this, and is called, don't bring your science versus religion topics into this, and you're a troll, and blah blah blah. What? He's the troll for responding to some guy saying that all creationists should die. How does that even make sense at all? It doesn't. And you know what? To moderators, it doesn't have to. That's the point. Even when you corner them and say, explain yourself, explain your rationality when there is none, they just shrug their shoulders, my forum, my rules, and that's what it comes down to. All the other bullshit is irrelevant. Don't give me this line of crap about trolls and spammers and things like that, and how you need to maintain order in your forum. Bullshit. It's simply about you think you have the right to harass whoever, whenever. Every single time. And you've admitted that countless times. You continually admit it. All the people that love moderators and obey moderators admit it. That they simply believe that just because a website is owned by somebody, that they get to treat people like that. And then you wonder why things are so bad. Then you want to bitch about what the state human society is in. You want to talk about how all women are bitches and whores, and I can't get a decent job, my pay is crap, Well, you know why? Because you tout the type of society that makes all those things happen. You think that you have the right to treat people like shit because it's your forum. Well, guess what? Corporate executives think they have the right to treat you like shit because it's their corporation. Politicians think they have the right to treat you like shit because it's their country. Women think they have the right to treat you like shit because it's their vagina. Everything is about theirs. Mine, mine, mine. What the fuck did you expect to happen? That's your mentality. That is the religion of which you are advocating. Your religion might not involve a god in the sky or pitchfork devil horns or anything like that, but it's still a religion. It's still a belief structure that has mutated the very fabric of Western society. It is your fault. Moderators are at fault for everything wrong with today's society. Everything. Even whether it be the capitalists up on Wall Street, whether it be the plight of the working class, whether it be the corrupt politicians, whether it be all the bitches and whores, whether it be anything, it's all moderators' fault, and you don't want to fucking see it. You want to be completely oblivious to it, and then you want to bitch at me. No, you don't get to bitch at me. I don't want to hear your bitching. Until you're ready to admit that moderators are the problem, and then you ask me, well, what can we do about it, Jim Prophet? And I'd be like, I don't know, man, but, let's throw some ideas at each other, let's talk about it, let's spread the word to other people, and maybe we can get something done. But until you're willing to do that, until you're willing to admit that there is a sincere problem with the human gene in and of itself, there's a sincere problem with the mindset of humanity, you don't have any fucking business talking to me about your problems or anybody else's problems. I don't want to hear about the job loss rate. I don't want to hear about how the Joker killed 15 people and then injured 58 other people. And how could this happen? Oh, it's the guns. No, it's the society you've created. It's the society you've created, and quite frankly, I'm kind of glad that there's shootings and things. Because all it means is more dead bastards like you that advocate, death and despair and tragedy and just tyranny. You make me sick anyway. You're of no use to this planet. We're all suffering because of you. So quite frankly, you're better off dead. So, I'm glad natural disasters happen. I'm glad there's murderers. I'm glad there's war. It may not be, the best solution by any means. But you cannot expect me to feel sorry for you when you act this way. You can't expect me to feel sorry for anybody, anywhere. When all they do is just project more and more evil and bellow it. And it's bile. It's just puke that comes from their insides of stupidity and ignorance and despicableness. That's all it is. That's all it is just an excuse to hurt other people. And whether or not it's with a knife or with words or with a command or with entitlement, that's all you know how to do is hurt other people. And I'm sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it. And I believe firmly that the way we get away from that is by, freeing ourselves on the internet. When we are truly free from moderators, we will have a better internet that will expose us to more things, to educate ourselves, to interact with other people, form stronger bonds. That will be the next industrial revolution. That will be the next age of enlightenment. When people are free to communicate and free to have ideas and free to have discourse, even the troll posts, even the spam posts, when people are actually free to be themselves and talk to one another and not be afraid of getting harassed or banned or anything like that, not be afraid of censorship on any level, we will see a new age. We will be a different humanity than we were before. And that's the problem. Not enough people want to agree with that. Not enough people want to see that. Because they want to live in their little world where, it's just getting laid and drinking a lot and just partying and sex and porn and just distracting themselves from the truth. You can't even leave your fucking house. You're just content with sitting in your room and watching fucking, cartoon pornography, hentai or whatever it's called. And, you think that it's just A-okay, that things will just always be this way, but they're not. Things are only going to get worse. And you'll adapt to it undoubtedly. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that you will be utterly enslaved, even more so than now, and you'll figure out a way to convince yourself that that's okay too. You'll look beyond that and just keep your head down and worry about your own stupid shit. Even though you're already stuck in your own house as it is, you might not even have that tomorrow. You might be out on the fucking street. But as long as you can convince yourself some way that it isn't your problem and that somehow these rapists are in the right, and yes, they are rapists. I mean, literal rape tragedy, rape trigger, post-traumatic stress disorder, rapists. They are rapists. And as long as you can convince yourself that these rapists do not need to be held accountable for their actions and that there doesn't need to be any kind of intervention on the internet and to get the internet away from these assholes and give it back to the people, for the people to freely communicate with one another and share information and not be afraid of anyone, anywhere, trying to mess with your content, and that you be judged according to the person that you are, not the person somebody else wants you to be. Until that day happens, you are just going to continue to sit in your fucking chair and just, distract yourself with other stupid bullshit until you eventually die. Because nothing else is going to matter. You're never going to see otherwise, and you're just going to continue to get poked with a stick by, the moderators, and they're just going to poke you harder and harder. You're going to bleed, pus is going to form, you're going to get infections and things like that, and you're still not going to fucking see it. They might even pluck the eyeballs right out of your head with a spoon. You're not going to fucking see it. You're not going to care. And one day you'll just die in a whimper. You'll die and nobody will remember you, and, nothing will be accomplished. And tomorrow will be worse than today. That's what's going to happen unless you fucking start to see the truth. And that's not a conspiracy theory. I'm not saying there's an Illuminati behind it. I'm not saying that there's reptilians involved. I'm not saying anything like that. I am saying that's the way the world works. That's the way it works, given the evidence and given your response. Given your response to when I bring this up to you, and you just justify it every single step of the way. You justify the rape, you justify the terror, and you're not doing anything about it. So what the fuck do you want me to tell you? No, it's not okay. It would never be okay. There is no exceptions to moderators. No one should have that power. No one should have the ability to tell you that you cannot post something. No one should have the ability to decide whether or not you are a decent enough person to deserve to be able to be on a website. You pay for the internet. You pay a lot of times for these services like video games and such. You are entitled. You are just as much entitled as the nicest person in the world, the nicest, smartest, straight A student, going to college honoraries person. You are just as entitled because you are a human being, and human beings have rights equally. Not pick and choose, not, based on our genetics, not based on the monarch, but just equal treatment under the law and equal treatment under society. Equal treatment because we are the same thing. We are the same spiritual being that transcends our genetic material, and that, I believe, is what the Age of Enlightenment was about. I do not believe it was any religion necessarily, because from what I've read, a lot of our forefathers were not Christians per se, at least American forefathers. I can't say that about every other country's forefathers. But American forefathers many of times were Masons. They were secular, or they were of different religious denominations. Actually, a lot of the weirder sectors of Christianity got their start in America, such as Mormonism, but the fact is that in its infancy, America was founded on this almost utilitarian religious sector, where it was universal, and it was no particular religion. That's why it specifically states a separation of church and state. Well, that's not actually in the Constitution, but Thomas Jefferson made a point to say it out loud because of the fact that they did not want America to turn into England, where it was somehow the monarch, the queen, deciding what the religion was, what the demographic was, what the mentality was. They did not want it to turn into the Vatican or into, Sharia law or anything else. There is no head priest or priestess. There is no church. There is only the mind. And some religions might have a better idea of where to take our minds, but we should not allow the religion itself to define the mind. We should merely use their wisdom and their words and the historical context of these religious books and use them to enhance our minds and to move us forward as a species. But people aren't doing that, even Christians. So, that's really all I have to say here, is the fact that, there are elements to Christianity being useful to getting rid of moderators, but I do not trust them 100%. A lot of times I go to forums that are heavily Christian, and I don't get banned quite as much. I do not personally get banned, but I do see people getting banned, and that is a problem. And so that tells me that they do not know everything. So, religion is a tool, but you have to recognize it as a tool. It's not the end-all, be-all. It's not the final answer. It's simply a tool for something greater. And you do not want something greater, apparently. So I guess that's all I have to say for now.